Hi, we're going to continue today in our chord progression vein, take a slight detour and familiarize ourselves initially here with what's called the circle of fifths. Now the circle of fifths is also known as the circle of fourths or the cycle of fifths or cycle of fourths. Basically uses the image of a circle or a clock, and it takes all 12 chromatic tones and arranges them around the face of the clock in a specific order. And I've made an exhibit to kind of help visualize this here. I'll have to adjust the camera, so bear with me for a quick second. Okay, there you go. Now you see the clock and the various positions of the clock. Now at the top here is the key of C, and if we go clockwise, then the fifth of C is G. C, D, E, F, G. And the fifth of G is D, the fifth of D is A, the fifth of A is E, the fifth of B, E is B, and the fifth of B is F sharp. Now if we go on the other side of the clock, we're going to go up a fourth. So on this side, from the fourth of C is F. C, D, E, F. The fourth of F is B flat. The fourth of B flat is E flat, A flat, D flat, down to the bottom of G flat. So these are moving in a rational way. If you kept going, in other words, if you went all the way around one way, you just keep going up and force and up and force and up and force, and you'd come right back to the same tone. Vice versa, if you started on C and just kept moving up a fifth, up a fifth, up a fifth, up a fifth, all the way around the clock, you would come all the way back to C. Now at the bottom you notice we have G flat and F sharp. That's called an enharmonic equivalent, and we're familiar with that because when we first studied our chromatic scale, we found that there were times when not all the tones were necessarily pure straight E, straight A, straight B, straight C. For instance, F, between F and G, there was a note in the middle. Well, that's a G flat or an F sharp, as we talked about, and that's called an enharmonic equivalent. An enharmonic equivalent is essentially the same, different names for the same pitch. Okay, now, this also introduces us to the concept of sharp keys and flat keys. And what do I mean by that? Well, in the key of C, you don't have any sharps or flats, but that's the only key that you won't find sharps or flats in. Now, what I'm saying is that if you take a key like at 1 o'clock, we have G, and you want to make that a major scale, and a major, the G major key and the G major scale, you can't play no sharps or flats because then you would be in G. Now we know the formula for the major scale and how to derive all the chords and triads and seventh, four-part harmony up through the seventh in a major key. So it's all we'd have to do is figure out what note would change, if any, or we know some note has to change, but which notes would change to get the G. Now we used a formula, if you recall, on C, whole, whole, half, up a step, whole, whole, half. Now if we do that on G, we'd go G, here's a G, whole, whole, half, up a step, whole, whole, half. Let's look at those notes. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. So the key of G has one sharp. Let's go to the 2 o'clock. D, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. Okay, D. Let's go to the next 3 o'clock. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. So 3 sharps. So as you go around the circle, every time you move over 1, you add another sharp. So G has 1, D has 2, A has 3, E has 4, B has 5, and F sharp has 6. Works the same on the flat side. Let's take the first one as an example. The key of F. Remember, we went up a fourth to get to F, so let's move the F down an octave and play the formula whole, whole, half, up a step, whole, whole, half. Let's look at those tones. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Okay, so to play an F major scale, you need to alter the B, you need to make it flat. And all the other tones would be natural tones, no sharps or flats. If you're in the key of G, you're going to have to make sure that you have that F sharp in there. Now, we don't think of it too much in that. I'm just introducing this idea of keys having sharps and flats. There are sharp keys, flat keys. In other words, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Those are all flat keys, and G, D, A, C, E, and B are sharp keys. And the notes within the scales, you don't mix and match. When you go on the sharp side into a sharp key, enharmonic tones stay, you call them sharps. Everything is labeled as a sharp if it's not natural. And on the flat side, you do the same thing. So you don't find sharps in flat keys, you don't find flats in sharp keys. Okay, now what's important about the circle is the way that the cycle moves through the 12 chromatic tones via this idea of moving up a fifth or down, up a fourth, or down a fifth, however you want to look at it. And let's look at that. Let's go. Remember, if you go up a fourth from C to F, it's the same as going down a fifth. Okay. Now remember we talked about the strongest movement harmonically was to play 5 to 1. So in the key of C, that was G, the 5 chord to 1. So let's move through the circle and see if we can get all 12 chromatic tones. So we would go G to C. C is the fifth of F. F's the fifth of B flat. B flat's the fifth of E flat. E flat's the fifth of A flat. A flat's the fifth of D flat. D flat's the fifth of G flat, which is also F sharp, and I'm going to change here to F sharp, which is the fifth of B. B is the fifth of A. A is the fifth of D. There's the A, I'm sorry, there's the D. D is the fifth of G, and G is the fifth of C. Okay, if I played the chords, it would sound, you know, G, C, F, B flat, D flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, or F sharp, E, I'm sorry, F sharp, B, E, A, D, G. Now we're back where we started. And it works the same way if you cycle through the chords the other way. So that's our first look at this, and we're going to do a little bit more on it, but that gives you the initial idea of what the circle of fifths is, and you can see how it's interesting that when you cycle through fourths or fifths, that you'll nail all 12 chromatic tones sooner or later just by going through them.